Welcome to the Wreath by Marguerite channel. I'm Marguerite. Today I will be showing you how to put together my latest kit that's available in my Etsy shop. It's a Easter wreath, as you can tell. It's done in the storm door / pancake style. What does that mean? What that means is you're still going to get a wreath that looks big and fluffy when you look at it from the front, but it's under 4 inches deep, so that if you have a storm door or a screen door, it will fit between that 4 inches of space you have between those doors without crushing the wreath. So stay tuned, follow along, and I'll show you how to put this beautiful wreath for the Easter holiday together. Let's do this. Let's go over what's in the kit. The kit will have the Happy Easter sign with your pipe cleaners pre-attached on the back. So this is 2 pipe cleaners cut in half and then stapled on the back with a 1/4 inch staples. Do not use anything more than a 1/4 inch staple, otherwise the staple will go through the front. If you do that, it's not going to look very pretty, so let's set that aside for now because we won't be using that for a while. You'll have 3 different kinds of ribbon to go on your mesh as ribbon tails. I'm going with the sugar bunny looking things. Don't want to use the other name. With some glitter in it, some pink and white gingham that's heavily glittered. Well, not glittered. Yeah, I guess it is glitter. It's just iridescent. That's the word I'm looking for. Versus thick and chunky and very thin. And then the green with the white daisies, the yellow in the center. How I chose my ribbons, number 1. This is obvious. This matched exactly. You have the colors. We have pink, which is also in there as white, and then the bunnies. I couldn't find at the time this exact bunny, but I thought this would be adorable because it's also the colors in the jelly beans. So they're all colors that correspond and coordinate with the sign. Ribbon coordinating with the sign. I've already pre-cut most of the ribbon, so I'm going to set that aside for now. When you get your ribbon, you're going to get your bundles folded like this. They're already folded at the 12-inch length that you need each of them to be. You'll have 1 to 2 bundles of each pattern. It just depends on where in the roll it was when I cut the ribbon. So that's going to make the difference on whether you have 1 or 2 bundles. But no worries. I make sure the colors match exactly if they're from 2 different rolls of ribbon. So everything's going to match exactly. And in this particular project, I went with 3 different designs, no solid colors, and they're all 2.5 inches wide. You can do any combination of 2 to 3 ribbons on this style of wreath with any combination of 2.5 inch or 1.5 inch ribbons. I've even done a 4.5 inch ribbon with a 2.5 inch ribbon. That works as well when I just do 2. It gives good coverage. And a lot of it depends on how much of the mesh you want to be seen. Most of us consider the mesh your solid foundation of the wreath. You're not wanting to see a lot of it. You just want to see a little bit of peaks of it. But that's entirely up to you. We often refer to it as the bra of your wreath because it's the solid foundation. Get it? Okay, so these are the 3 ribbons that we will be choosing to use. I'm going to set those aside and we'll go over when we get to the first layer how to cut it per the design. Then we have a base. This is our 14.25 inch base with 6 pipe cleaners on the outside rings. There's 6. And then 6 on the inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 12 pipe cleaners, 12 pieces of each of the ribbon, and you also have 12 pieces of the mesh, and I'll go over that in a second. If you noticed, I pulled all the pipe cleaners on the outer ring to the outside because we will be working on those first. Now, the pattern that you have the pipe cleaners put on here is important because it spaces the mesh between each other from one layer to the other. So on the outer 2 rings, rings 1 and 2, the pipe cleaner is around the crossbars. There's 6 crossbars. So the outer 6 pipe cleaners are around rings 1 and 2 at the crossbar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then the other 6 pipe cleaners are on rings 3 and 4 between the crossbars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And those are turned in because we're going to use the outside first, okay? Now in this project, I decided to mix it up a little bit. They're almost exactly the same. The colors are certainly the same. But you're going to get 6 to 7 pieces of each of these meshes because we're going to do every other when we put them in the frame. This one has a little bit more of a check pattern to it. And this one is just solid stripes. Put these up here because we'll use those in a few minutes. Now, there's the other one. All of these have been pre-cut for you for the kit. Most everything like that's done for you, so you just get to cut some ribbon and assemble your wreath. It takes a lot less time since I did that for the kits. These are 20 inches long. The cuts are 20 inches long, and these are 10-inch pieces of mesh, so that's what you'd want to use for this storm door / pancake style wreath. Anything wider than that is going to be too much. They do make mesh like this that's 9 to 12 inches. Any of those would be okay. Like I said, they're cut at 20-inch length. So you have 12 pieces of each ribbon, 12 pieces of the mesh, 12 pipe cleaners. So there's your common number to remember, 12, 12, and 12, okay? So let's get started. I'm going to put these right here because I'm going to need those soon. I've got one of each out already. Actually, we're going to start with this. Some ideas to run past you, or some suggestions, I should say. When you're working with mesh, make sure you're wearing short sleeves and none of your good clothes, because this stuff acts like Velcro and it sticks to everything. Make sure you have at least 4 inches of workspace so you can move things out of the way. Otherwise, it'll start grabbing onto the wreath frame as you're turning it. The next thing you need to know is tools. You're going to need a good pair of scissors. I use Fiskars. A good pair of wire cutters. For now, these things are all available around your house. You don't have to make any extra investments. I got a bunch of glue on this and it's bugging me. Okay, so a lot of these tools are around the house. You don't have to buy them until you're sure you're ready to do more than one. So scissors, wire cutters. These are from Deco Exchange. Some needle nose. A chip clip. Yes, a chip clip. You probably have one of these or something similar around the home. And then a wooden dowel. Oh, that's not the one I want. This is the one I want. It's thinner. See the difference? This is for twisting the pipe cleaners at the end. Alright, so there we have it. That's everything we need for this project. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to bring your frame in front of you and take the outer 6 pipe cleaners and open them horizontally to you. See how I'm turning the frame towards me so that I can work on the pipe cleaner right directly in front of me. I recommend you do that with the whole project. That way you make sure that you get all your product attached correctly and facing the right direction. Plus, it's less strain on your arms and back if you turn it to you. So I'm going to start here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this with the lines, not the check. There's the check. These are the stripes only. We're going to put in 3 of those. We're going to go every other. So this will go 1 skip, 1 skip, 1 skip, and then we'll go back and take the plaid and put them where in between each of those. The reason I do that is it helps the mesh sit flatter, because this is designed to go behind a screen or a storm door. Now the mesh I'm using today has a pattern to it, so it's very easy to find the center. But if you were using a solid colored mesh, I would follow the same routine I'm showing you now, and then as I go through the project I'll stop doing this routine and just start flying through once I feel like I've given you enough direction to do this. And if you need to back up and fast forward and back up, that's the beauty of this video, is you can do that, so that if you need to watch it a few extra times. I do recommend watching it completely before you start, so you have everything pretty much figured out. You will get a packet with instructions on everything I'm teaching you today, so you have a print form of what we're doing, and it's a great place for you to put any notes you want to help make it easier for you, tricks of the trades and stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to place a piece of mesh in front of us long ways with the curl side down, okay? Curl side down always. Now, I could easily go to this pink line in the center and start ruffling, but for the sake of teaching, I'm going to show you what you do so that if you're using a solid colored mesh rather than a patterned mesh, it's easy to figure it out too as well. Your goal is to make sure you're gathering the mesh straight down the middle, but sometimes we get off to the side a little here and there. So doing this has always helped me, what I'm going to show you now, has always helped me stay on track. So what I do, you can use a ruler, you don't need to measure and find where your center is, but there's an even quicker way to do it, so one less tool. You just fold it in half, place your finger where the halfway point is, and put a clip there. Turn it around. The clip serves as a visual guide to stay focused on the center of your mesh, as well as holding the curl down. You'll find when you get into the pieces of mesh that are cut from further into the roll of mesh, they curl a lot more. So then we're going to do that again on this end. But now we're going to take our thumbs on the outside of the mesh and all the rest of our fingers up on the mesh and gather the mesh in small little ruffles into our thumbs, okay? Later on I'll show you what I do when I get going, but I'm giving you super basic instructions so you have all the tools in your toolbox, so to speak. I get to the top, I put it into one hand. I'm using my thumb and forefinger to hold it, index finger. So I'm going to take the clip off, and then I'm going to finish gathering it into my thumb and forefinger. And I'm going to hold it loosely there so I can adjust my mesh. When I adjust my mesh, you never hold it from the edge, because if you pull on the edge, you're going to alter the design in the mesh, and that's not what you want. You want it to look nice and finished, okay? So I'm loosely holding it like this so that I can bring this side out a little bit more so we have a perfect circle. We want to make sure these edges are lined up. Right now, this is an inch off. So we want this to meet that and this to meet that. So we're going to bring, I'm going to get it in my other hand and a couple of fingers. I'm going to bring it from the center right by my fingers out to match it up. See? This one's way out now because I did that. So now I just have to come back here and bring it out. Okay, so now we basically have a circle. So we're going to bring that frame back over to us. Remember I said keep the section you're working on directly in front of you. And the pipe cleaner is horizontal, so the mesh is going to go in vertically. And we want to put it in the center, right where your thumb and forefinger were holding the mesh. Hold it in place while you bring the pipe cleaners up and around the mesh. And we're going to twist this one time really low and really tight. 1, 2, 3 times. So 2 or 3 times is enough. We want to twist it tight and low so that we again can keep the profile of the wreath under the 4 inches so it'll fit behind the door. So I'm going to take now the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge on one side, outside cut edge over the inside cut edge on the other side, and then just try to flip this. That helps hold it in place. And this one went pretty well. We're still lined up. Usually the first couple I do on every wreath when I start each day, I have to redo it because you get out of practice even after 2,000 wreaths. Okay, so that's done. I like to press it down a little bit. I didn't need to do any adjustments on this one, but you'll see me do it throughout, and I'll explain what I'm doing right away. So remember, we're going to go to the next one and skip it because it's going to be the other design since we're doing 2. And go to here. So we're back to the every other. All right. Now the reason, oh, I know what I was going to tell you. The reason we put the cut edge the way we do is to protect it. The less the cut edges are exposed to being caught, the less they're going to fray. All mesh frays, you won't avoid it. You can take a wood burning tool and cut it that way. when you do your cuts. That does kind of melt it a little bit to hold it. But I wouldn't take that kind of time, because you're going to have it on your door, you're going to have it stored, you're not going to have it all over the place that you're really going to need to, but you're just going to want to make sure that you protect it, okay? Let me see. So next, fold it in half. That's my center. Turn it around, remembering it's curl side down. Fold it in half. I just love the spring colors. I'm ready when it comes out. After all the Christmas colors and the bright red and the bright green, it's nice to have that pop of brightness. It reminds us that spring is coming, and in our case, the wind and the cold here in southwest Nebraska are going away soon. Actually, today, the day I'm filming, we're going to have our first day in our 70s, but then we're supposed to be in snow alert this weekend. So it's still that time of the year where our weather is bipolar. Now, as you can see, I've ruffled it all. I held it in my thumb and forefinger. I'm not pulling from the edge. I'm trying to make it as round as possible. Bring my hand up in here. I don't want to grab the edge. That looks good, so we're going to come back over, skipping that one. This is directly in front of me. I go back and forth. It's just which side I like better. It's just one of my quirks. We all have them. So this is going in vertically. The pipe cleaners were horizontal. Bring that up and around and twist tight and low 2 to 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's bring that up and out of the way. And we're going to take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. The outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Now, getting back to the fact that I'm doing every other one, I do that. It helps with the pattern. It helps keep it thinner. But you can just go from one to the next to the next to the next. That's entirely up to you. This is just my suggestions based on what I've learned over the years doing this to make it work the best. And I use the end of the table to uncurl my mesh. So we're going to fold that one in half. Find the center and clip it. Turn it around, remembering always have the curl side down. Do that one more time. Thumbs on the outside, all of the fingers to ruffle it. You're just crawling up the mesh, gathering it into your thumb, staying focused on the center. And I keep watching that purple clip at the top. That's what's helping me stay on center as much as possible. Plus, like I said, this is patterned mesh. So there's that pink line down the middle, so that helps a lot too. Okay, I'm going to see if my circle is right. Our edges meet. Cut that little bit of fray off. This is perfectly normal. So that one's good. This one could be adjusted just a little bit more on this end. So I'm going to bring it out just a touch. Okay. Bring it back over in front of me. I'm going to take my glasses off. They're bugging me. Put that in there vertically. Bring these pipe cleaners up. Okay. 2 to 3 times tight and low. I'm bringing those out of the way for now because we're not using them until all the mesh is on this layer. Bringing that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. The outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Alright, how's that look? This is off, so I'm going to grab underneath and on the top side. Just enough to even out the mesh. Ultimately, keep in mind that on the mesh, what's going to be seen is the outside edge. So that's the most important edge of it to keep it rounded. If it's not rounded like you want it to be, I hold it from the pipe cleaners and I reach down at the base and find the corresponding section. So if I need to pull this out, pull this in, I go over here. It's opposite. So If this is way out, I would pull here. If this was way out, I'd pull here. Okay, so now we have the first 3 done. Now we get to use the version with the pattern that's a plaid. So again, putting it on the table. This one's all plastic. This one has some fabric to it too. It's got a different feel to it, but it's all water resistant because it's still got lots of plastic to it. So we're going to fold it in half. Clip that center pink line just like in that design. Turn it around. And we're going to do the same thing again. Fold it in half, find your center, and then start gathering into your thumbs using that pink line and the purple clip at the top to help us stay centered in our ruffling. Get to the top, pull it off and finish that ruffle. Hold it in a thumb and forefinger, whichever hand you're more comfortable with. Sometimes even I go back and forth. When you make 8 to 10 of these a day, at least me, I like to mix it up a little bit, change it up a little bit. I'm trying to stay consistent for tutorials though. So we're making sure these outside edges match up. And now we're going to go over to the frame again. Get my finger in there. We're going to take the mesh vertically into the horizontal pipe cleaner. Tight and low, twist, twist, and twist. Always keeping it nice and low. So we're going to take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Now in this project, they're both 10-inch mesh. But I've come across cases where I've chosen mesh, 2 or 3 different kind of meshes for a project, and they're different widths. Some are 11, 10, and 9.5. You're going to need to be cognizant of that when you put it in the wreath because you want to make sure that it's perfectly even all the way around. Otherwise you'll have peaks and valleys. If that happens, you're just going to want to pull your mesh out on this side of the pipe cleaner a little bit more to match the wider mesh. Hopefully that makes sense. So this is a little softer, definitely nicer on the hands than this is. So that is layered on top of that perfectly. We turned it again because we're going to work on this one now. And then we have one more on this layer till we are done and we get to start playing with the ribbon. See how it's much curlier? Curl side down. Fold it in half. Place your clip where your finger was. Turn it around, curl side down. Do the same thing again. Actually, I've got a couple strings I want to pull out just on the very end. They're just waiting to fall out anyway. Okay, so we're going to fold it in half. Pink line in the center on this pattern. Both of them, both styles as a matter of fact. Gather it all the way up. I know I went a little faster, so I was starting to get off track there, but we came back. Okay, let's take a look at that. Oh, very good. And I often turn a little bit to the side. I don't know if that's because I'm left-handed or not, but that's what I do. It's just more comfortable. You want to be comfortable. Make the product move, not you. That in there. Bring that pipe cleaner up. This one just really is annoying me with the strings. I'll take the rest off in a second. Tight and low. Twist, twist, twist. Okay, you are out of here. Thank you. I'm not just throwing it on the floor. There's a bucket there. Trash. So I'm bringing that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Another thing that's happening with this piece of mesh is there's a string coming loose on the outside edge. Just hold the whole thing and just pull it off. It's just one string. It's not going to cause the mesh to fall apart, but it's going to make it look unfinished if you leave it there. So I'm going to bring these up. That could come up just a little more. Notice I'm holding it from the pipe cleaners as I pull at the base. Set. I have noticed fabric mesh does fray a little bit more than the all poly. Okay, one more to go. And it's ribbon time. When we prep the ribbon, we do it all at once so that when we get to the second layer, the top layer, we don't have to do that step again. It's a time saver, it really is. These loose strings off. Okay. To do this, fold it in half. But we know it goes where the pink line is on this particular mesh. Curl side down, turn it around. Fold, clip. Nope, no clip. I just did that. Now it's ruffle time. Thumbs on the outside of the mesh and gather it. Some people go as far as folding it accordion style. It's up to you. I just gather it into my fingers, go up the mesh. You can either go all the way up to the top or bring it down like I did, so I'm not reaching so far across the table. Pull that clip out when we get to the end. Put it in my thumb and forefinger, check out my circle, see if it's even. This needs to come out a little bit here. That one looks good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this last piece in on this layer. Bring that pipe cleaner up and around, and then twist really tight and low. 1, 2, 3, and then bring it up and out of the way. Cut my phrase off. Alright, so I don't need that for now. So I'm going to bring the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, and the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Okay, now over here, string. So over here it darts in a little bit, so I'm going to hold the pipe cleaners and go from the base and bring it out a little bit more. So this outside edge is definitely rounded. I still need to do it a little bit more right there. Grabbing from underneath. But I'm still grabbing right at the base of the pipe cleaner. Alright, there we go. There's our first layer of mesh. And I'm going to go ahead and set the pipe cleaners how we want them for putting the ribbon in, so we're ready to go once it's cut. Now with the mesh, the pipe cleaners went horizontally. With the ribbon, it's going to go vertical because the ribbon's going to go in horizontal. So mesh goes in vertical, ribbon goes in horizontal. See how I'm turning it as I go? Let's put that out of the way now. I've already made my bundles, except for enough to show you the technique we use. And then I have a few extra pieces to show you how to troubleshoot if you make a boo-boo. So like I said, the ribbon is all folded in 12 inches in length. That's the length of each tail that you want. So you don't have to do that if you're doing this on your own and don't have the tools I have. Just 12 inches is a ruler, so just wrap it around a ruler 12 times, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to find the center and put a couple fingers in there, and then you're going to cut at the fold at the top and cut at the fold in the bottom. There's no solid colored ribbons, so I won't go into how to tell the finished side and unfinished side on solid colored ribbons. I will refer you back to some of my other videos, my older ones. Look for a wreath that has solid colored ribbon, and then you can watch that one. And I recommend you do anyway. Gives you more ideas. I may say things a little differently from one video to the other, that one way might make more sense to you than the others. But like I always say, reach out in the comments and let me know if you have any questions or concerns. I'll be more than happy to answer them. So when I cut the pile in half, half of them have the pattern facing the ceiling and half of them have the pattern facing down. I immediately flip them and then I start my folding before I even go on to the next ones. I try to get as many things accomplished as I go, so I'm not touching things as much. I think that comes from my retail career. You know, we were always taught touch things as little as possible. It's more efficient use of time, so it's just kind of rolled over into the rest of my life. So I'm taking the finished side on the inside of the ribbon, folding it down here, giving it a nice crease so the cut edges are there. Okay. So that's those. And I'm going to do this one. I'm going to find the center, put a couple fingers in there to keep the half of the pile on one side of each. Now on this ribbon, it's definitely harder to tell the difference between the finished side and the unfinished side. The saving grace on this is it has that glitter, so it's not on the back. So I just flip these over so they're all facing the ceiling with the finished side. Then I immediately fold them in half with the glittered finished side on the inside. Always have the finished side on the inside is how I do it. Some people always do it with the finished side on the outside. You'll find your place, your comfort zone, but this is what I do. Always the finished side on this inside. So I'm folding it in half, evenly, giving it a nice crease at the wire, and then we're going to go to this last one. Now I'll talk about this a little bit more as we're putting it in the wreath, but this pattern is directional, meaning all of the bunnies go the same direction. So you'll have to be cognizant of that when you're putting it in the wreath. If the bunnies were going, you know, one this way, one flip, one this way, one flip, you wouldn't have to worry what direction it goes in the wreath. And I'll go into that as we go along. Get that folded in half there, cut at the folds. I had my finger in the middle. I know that this is the finished side because it's glittery and this is not finished. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to make sure they're all going the same direction instead of opposite. And then I'm going to fold them all in half. Okay, even Steven. Finished side on the inside. You can't see this, and I can't get close enough with the camera to see, but some of the wire in this is sticking out where I've cut it. Sometimes that happens. It's completely normal. Just cut that excess wire off. I guess I could have left it on there until I put the dovetails in it, but I just wanted to show you at that point. Okay, so now all of them are folded in half. The next step is to put one of these dovetails in it, each of them. Let go, let go. Thank you. So you see there's a V there? Looks better. You can see it better on the table. See the V? That's what we're going to make next. So to do that, you always, always, always want to have the folded side of the ribbon flat to the table and the cut side to the ceiling. Then what you're going to do is you're going to fold the ribbon in half at the cut side. Get the wires nice and even with each other, and now there's a new fold. You're going to cut from that new fold to the wire at a 45-degree angle. Okay? We're going to do this. You're going to do this with all 36 pieces of ribbon. I'm only doing it with 12 because I got the rest ready for the sake of time. If you need to watch it more, you can always rewatch the section over and over, or you can go back and look at one of the videos from the beginning of time on this channel, which was the beginning of 2024. And I go over every single solitary piece. So if you want to watch it 36 times, you can watch it there. Okay, so fold it side down, fold it in half. Wires are next to each other, they're even with each other. And I'm going to take that new fold and cut it towards the wire tip. Now keeping it like this when you're doing that keeps you on track so that you don't cut the opposite direction. I'm going to show you that in troubleshooting, some of the mistakes you can make and how to recover from them. I give you 13 pieces of ribbon so that of each style, so that if you make a mistake, you can come back from it and still build your wreath. But that's also why I recommend that you only cut one piece at a time, especially if you're a newbie. So fold it side down, You don't want to run out of supplies. Wire to wire, cut from the fold up to the wire at a 45-degree angle. Okay, one more time, fold side down, fold it in half, wire to wire, hold it in place, cut from the fold to the wire. Okay, so that's the rest of the bunnies. Now it's time to do the same with the gingham. So fold it side down, cut side to the ceiling, fold evenly in half, cut from the new fold to the wire upwards towards the ceiling. Same thing, folded side down, wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire to up towards the ceiling. Fold side down, fold in half, wire to wire, cut from the new fold to the wire up towards the ceiling at a 45-degree angle. Folded, cut from the new fold to the wire upwards towards the ceiling. And that's all the gingham. Now the daisy. Folded side down, make sure those pieces of ribbon are even. Fold in half, wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire. Folded side down, wire to wire, fold it, cut from the new fold to the wire upwards in a 45-degree angle. Fold down, wire to wire, new fold, cut to the wire. Folded side down, new fold to the wire. And there we have that. Excuse me a sec here. So all 36 are cut, and these were my extras. So I'm going to use them to show you a couple of boo-boos, but how to come back from them. So first and foremost, let's just say you were really sloppy with the folds and you didn't have them wire to wire when you folded it up here. So there's like a 1/4 inch gap. I'm going to cut it like I'm supposed to at a 45-degree angle from the fold to the corner. See how much different this one is? Let me see if I can get in close enough here. One moment, please. I don't know if you can see it, but this one side is way different than this one. We can fix that. Let's fold it back in half, making sure that the wires are even on both sides. We're going to fold it directly in half and make sure this time all 4 pieces of wire are even. And we're not going to lose hardly any of the ribbon length because we're going to start at the point here and just recut them evenly. Just a little bit down, just a touch further down the ribbon. And now they're perfect. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and use this one to show another boo-boo that you can come back from. So that's fine. You've got the wires right. You folded it in half. And you decided to cut way down here. Now, while that looks okay, if you try to use that in your wreath, what's going to happen is, because the V is so deep, the ribbon's going to buckle on itself, and that ain't pretty. You can fix that, but you're going to lose some length. So I'm going to put it back on the table, fold it in half, wire to wire, and I'm just going to go at more of an angle from that tip this way and see how much better that is. Okay. Now, I'm going to use this one more time. And I'm going to cut these tips off so I can show you. There's one more thing you can do that you can come back from. So you're still folding in half, you're still following the process, but you weren't paying attention. And you cut it from the wire side to the fold. Oopsie! We can fix this. Same thing, but you're going to lose a little bit of length, right? You're going to go back and redo it, and you have your V, okay? There's one more technique that you can, one more boo-boo you can make, but this one you cannot recover from. Say you're not paying attention, or for whatever reason, you turn the cut side down and the fold side up, and you're not even paying attention, or whatever the reason may be, anything. You got it folded in half, you're still not paying attention, you cut from the new fold to the wire. This you can't recover from. I mean, I suppose you could find a way to glue it together, but I don't know. I haven't taken the time, I just make a new piece. But just be really careful when you are cutting your product to be consistent with how you do it so that you don't end up with a mistake like that. I'm not keeping that either. Okay, so that's that, that's that. So now I'm going to make my bundles. I have decided that I want the rabbits to be on top. So what I do is I put the rabbit inside the pink because I want the pink in the center, and then I want the flowers on the bottom. So when I put it into the frame, it's going to be a pattern like this. Okay. So I always make all my bundles first. So let's do that with all 36. I had 8 of the bundles made already. So this helps speed through the process as you're making it. I'm all about ease and use. So this goes inside the pink one, and this goes inside of the green one. Okay. All right. So now that's your ribbon. It's set for the rest of the project, and you're ready to start putting your ribbon tails in your wreath. So remember I said to have all your pipe cleaners vertical because the ribbon's going in horizontal. Now on the bottom layer, they're all going to be ruffled and then made into an inverted V, and I'll show you that in a second, because we want to have as much of the ribbon showing on the outside edge as possible, because that's all you're going to see of the mesh on the lower layer, because you're going to put this ribbon in, another layer of mesh, and a layer of ribbon, so all that you'll see is the outside edge, so we want to make sure the ribbon's facing the outside edge. So gather it up, very similar to the way you did the mesh. Bring it into your thumb and forefinger, and you're going to take your other hand and you're going to pull the ribbon towards the edge of the table. So to you, it looks like a V. To me, it's upside down V. We want it to look like this before we put it in the frame. We're going to put it in the pipe cleaner, and we're going to take that pipe cleaner tight and low a couple times. 1, 2, and then we're going to twist it upwards, because we want to create a 1-inch twist, okay? And that's where your wire cutters come in. Bring it back in the center so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So there's about 1 inch that's been twisted, and we're going to cut the excess off. And then we're going to place the ribbon where we want it, and then we'll tuck this down into the mesh. So I'm going to lift the top 2 ribbons up and away from the bottom. That opens it up further up towards the pipe cleaner. Push these little bubbles that are created from the gathering and place my ribbon, bottom ribbon where I want it. Then I'm going to separate the top 2, and I'm going to place this where I want it, and then I'm going to place this where I want it. Okay? Now what I'm doing here is on this side, the green will be up here, pink in the middle always, and then the bunny down here. And then on this side, it's going to be opposite. You're still going to bring them up and away, but this time I'm going to bring the green down, pink still in the middle, and the bunny's at the top. So because it's the storm door style, I often press down on everything, but you're wanting to pull everything to the outer edge here that you can. It has a mind of its own. Don't fuss with it too much, because in the end you'll go back and fluff everything as needed. So now I can push this down into the frame and out of the way. No one will see that because this will all be hidden in the center. Okay? So I got all my ribbons in position. See that? Okay, I'm going to bring it back out. and I'm going to skip one. Now remember on this one, the bunnies are right side up if you're looking there, so I want to repeat that same pattern. I don't want to do this because we're going to do this because we're going to do the same thing as we did with the mesh. We're going to skip one and go here. Gather the ribbon and your thumb and forefinger right at the crease from where you folded it. Bring these pieces of ribbon towards the edge of the table. Put it in the pipe cleaner. Put the ribbon in the pipe cleaner. Tight and low, twist that pipe cleaner a couple times. Then twist it in an upward fashion to create a 1-inch twist. I call them stubs. I don't know if that's politically correct or not. That's me though. Okay, so I'm going to take and lift the right side. Place the daisy. Lift the top one away from this. You're pulling on it, and it's okay to get a little aggressive with it. It's well-made ribbon. It's securely in the pipe cleaner, so you can put a little force behind your adjustments. So those three are positioned where I want. You bring these up. Bring the green one down towards the edge of the table, and do it 2 more times. You notice I'm not grabbing here. I'm grabbing further up the ribbon. Just like with the mesh, ribbon can fray. It's not as easy. But if you're grabbing it by the cut edges, you're going to potentially fray it. So I'm going to push that down in. So now we have 2. We're going to do the same direction on the bunnies on the next one. We're skipping this, so we're going here. We're making sure that, just like the others, the bunnies are right side up, facing to the left, ears facing to the left on this one. Have you figured out what's going to happen next? Put that in there. With this ribbon for the next 3, take a guess. Tight and low, 1, 2, and then twist upwards. Giving yourself a 1-inch twist and cutting the excess off. Okay, so one more time. Lift these 2 up, position. Lift the top one up, position. See, I'm running my fingers over the ribbon as I go. Position. And over here, we're bringing the green to the edge, so this is going to get lifted and placed. And the mesh decided to come along with the ribbon. It's like Velcro, I'm telling you. So I'm going to place everything in position. Tuck this in. Keep everything nice and straight. Just don't fuss with it too much. And never handle it from the tip. Okay, so I asked you, what do you think's next? Yes, it's the other 3 bundles of ribbon. Well, the last 3, the ears were going this direction. So these 3 will go with the ears facing that direction. Now, you can only do this when you have an even number of twist ties or pipe cleaners in your frame. Some of the bigger work frames don't, so you can't do that or you'll end up with 2 exactly the same next to each other. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's go ahead and get started. Get that ruffled. Pull the outside edges down to the edge of the table. Make sure that your tails are even, because when I first did it, this side was shorter than this, so I just adjusted how I held it so that when I put it in here, itchy nose, spring allergies are about to appear. Oh yay. Tight and low, 2 up 1 inch, twist, cut off the excess. And now we're going to fold these. Not fold them. Spray them out. These 2 up. Now this is going to overlap the ribbons next to it. Again, it gives it more dimension and it also keeps it nice and thin. Bring these up, out, and separate. So these 3 are here. These are here. I'm making sure they're facing the outside of the frame, outside of the wreath, towards me. And now we're going to go ahead and do 2 more. Remembering that in this grouping, the bunny ears are to the right. You can do them all the same direction, or you can do what I'm doing. Just make sure you're consistent. Most people won't notice those details, but you know, as a maker, I notice everything I could have done differently. Getting that prepped. Made my inverted V, putting it in the frame. Tighten low a couple times with the pipe cleaner, and then upwards for a 1-inch twist. Cut the excess off. I'm trying really hard to clean as I go. Sometimes I have a tendency to let it pile up in the corner, but I'm trying not to today. I always tell everybody, you do you. I'm going to give you suggestions. What you do ultimately is your decision. Just remember when you're cutting the ribbon, though, definitely follow my direction because there's not a lot of extra product in the kit so that we can keep the prices down. Now you notice I'm sitting the whole time. I really don't stand very much when I do this for a variety of physical reasons for myself. But a lot of people stand, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do stand when it's time to put the sign on. See how that's coming together? We're down to the last one on this layer. It's coming along nicely. So I'm remembering to keep those ears to the right. Ruffle that up the center. Pull the tails down to me, making sure they're even. And putting that in. I really love all these colors. Oh. Tighten low, 1, 2, and then bring it up in a 1-inch stub. Now you're just twisting it up to make the 1-inch twist so it's long enough that you can tuck it down into the mesh and there's no sharp edges exposed. Not that there would be on the lower layer, but it gives it a more finished look. Bring this ribbon out. Lift, separate. That side's done. Turn in the frame. Lift, separate. And you'll notice it fights me sometimes and moves. That's why I like to put my hand down like this and pull them out. I think that helps. So now we have finished the first layer. It's coming together nicely. So we're going to set the ribbon aside again. We won't need that till after we put the last of the mesh in. So we're going to see how there's the 6. We're going to bring these 6 sets of pipe cleaners up between each piece of mesh. And we're going to separate them out horizontally again because we're putting the mesh in vertically. So the pipe cleaners go the opposite direction of the product. So with mesh, the mesh goes in vertically, so the pipe cleaners go in horizontally. Bring this one up here between these two. So you can already get an idea that you're going to be layering evenly. So that there's even distribution of the mesh. It lays the same. And that's also why it stays so thin. I just thought of something. I'll grab something for later. Pardon. So let's finish doing this. Turning as I work on the wreath so I don't have to contort my body. Get those all spread out. So now they're ready and we go back to doing this the same way we did it before. We put in the first 3. I'm going to start with the stripe. I'm going to put a curl side on the table, down. I'm going to use this to hold it down. Oftentimes I use my phone, but not today. So now I am going to use the clip still. Fold it in half. Turn it around. Curl side down. And I know the pink line's my center, so I'm going to go ahead and gather. I'm going to gather it a little differently than I did on the first 6 to show you how I do it when I'm on a wreath making spree. I just hold it with one hand and it helps keep the curl down, and I just gather it into one hand. Staying in that center, using my other hand to keep the mesh flat while I'm gathering it, bringing it into my thumb and forefinger, adjusting the mesh. I'm not grabbing the edge, I'm grabbing it down in here. That one came out perfectly. So I'm going to turn this a little bit, but still have this one I'm working on directly in front of me. Place my mesh tight and low. 2 or 3 times I'm going to twist it. Tight. 1, 2, 3. And lift it out of the way for now. Take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. The outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Take a look at it and see if I need to make any adjustments. I got a point going on here and a dip over here, so I'm going to bring this out a little bit more. I got a loose piece of mesh. Alright, let's get this all. I put that pipe cleaner on tight. It ain't going anywhere, that's for sure. Let me get these other ones off. Just be careful when you're cutting the frays off that you're not cutting through the mesh itself. Alright, so we're going to skip this one and come over here. Remember, we're putting that design that's the plaid in between. I'm going to fold it in half, put my clip there to help keep track of my center, as well as hold it the curl down, curl side down, fold it in half. I'm going to use 2 hands. I often do 2 hands and then switch over to 1. Gather that up. That looks good. That's good. Let's get that in there. So it's in front of me, the one I'm working on. Put that mesh in there. Bring this up over the mesh. Twist tight and low. 1, 2, 3. At a minimum, twist it 2 times. At a maximum, do it 3. Because the more you twist it, the thicker the wreath will get. Okay, I'm just going to get that out of the way. Take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. The outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Now this needs to be pulled out here because it's way pointy on that side. And if you're wondering, yes, I'm originally from Southern California, so I'll say dude and way and cool and groovy and stuff like that. Now some of this is going to be hidden, but we're going to not fuss with it till we're done, meaning the ribbon on the lower layer. So that's where I want it to be. We're going to skip one again and go to this one. It'll be the last of this one. You should have an extra piece. I'm going to say you can ruffle it all up later, and I'll try to remember to show you and make little bundles of just ribbon tail bows on top of mesh. Hopefully that made sense. I'm going to fold it in half, curl side down, wire to wire. I've streamlined I'm not moving it as much. You notice I did it before I put it up there. And now I know this is my center because of the pink line, and I'm just going to gather. This is the 3rd and final of this pattern mesh, the striped. Okay. Double check my edges. Look good. Put that in there. Ow, it's poking me. Tight and low 3 times. If you don't do it tight, it also causes it to sit up higher that way. It also makes it more flimsy. If you do some of the other types of wreaths, like the pixie wreaths, if you watch any of those videos that I've done, I explain what I mean about being floppy. So outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. You need to hold it from the pipe cleaner and grab it from just on this side of the pipe cleaner to bring it out a little bit more because it wasn't even. I'm always trying to curl the edges in. It's not always successful. It's not the end of the world. So now, I'll get that last one off. There we go. Now we're ready to do the last 3 pieces of mesh. So we have that spare. We're going to have these ready to go for us. I use the table to uncurl my ribbon, my mesh. Doesn't want to come off. Okay. All right. Fold it in half, curl side down, clip the center, which is the pink line. A couple of pieces down here I need to trim. There we go. There we go. So I'm going to gather in the center, which is the pink line. Okay, make sure that edges are even. You're holding it loosely in your thumb and forefinger so that you can pull on it without damaging it. Bring it over to the frame, working on the pipe cleaner that's directly in front of you. Place your mesh in there. Bring it around, twist it tight and low 3 times or 2. 1, 2, 3. I pull my pipe cleaners up in the air so they're out of the way while I'm working on the mesh. Bring that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. It sticks to itself pretty well. And once it's in position, the mesh isn't going to move because it sticks to itself. So this one sticks to that one sticks to the one that's going to go in over there. All right, we're really pointy over here. Somehow between ruffling it and bringing it over, I got this huge gap over here. So let me get this fixed first. Reaching under the mesh at the base. Definitely don't want to handle this mesh from the edges because of the fabric. It frays a little easier. Alright, there we go. That's it. We're going to work on this one next. Alright, curl side down. Fold it in half. Clip at the fold, which is the pink line. I do this with the clip regardless of whether it has a pattern or if it's a solid colored mesh. It just keeps me consistent and I use it as my guide. So fold it in half. Let's ruffle. See how it kind of starts taking off and doing its own thing? That's part of why I ruffle with one hand so I can hold it down with the other. If you want to continue with the way I did it originally, which is 2 hands ruffling the whole way, I often put my phone at the top edge too as well by the clip so it holds it down flatter. That does help. Any heavier object. Some people keep a pet rock or a rock of some sort on their table to use as a weight. 3 times, tight and low. I am in love with this mesh. There's also other color combinations as well of this. I think it's pink and red and white. I don't have any right now. What do I have? No, I don't. So we put that, we take took the outside cut edges over the inside cut edges so that came out nicely. And we have one more to go and we're done with the mesh. And I have one extra piece of this mesh as well. Okay. Curl side down. That's me using the table to unroll it. Fold it in half. Clip the center, which is the pink line in the center on this mesh. Unroll it on the table. Do it on the other end. And gather where your finger is, which is where the pink line in the center is. Gather all the way up, gathering the mesh into your thumbs if you choose to do the two-handed way. I'm a combo kind of girl. I tend to use both. Get that in my thumb and forefinger loosely. Get these lined up nice and neatly while it's loosely in your hand so the edges are the same place. They match up. So you have a complete circle. I'm not grabbing the edge of the mesh. Bring it over to your pipe cleaner, which is horizontal. Put your mesh in vertically. Tight and low twist that after you've centered the mesh in it. 2 to 3 times. Take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, and then adjust the mesh as needed to make sure you have a nice circle even on each side of the center. Adjusting it by holding the pipe cleaners and pulling at the base of the pipe cleaners to get your nice circle. And there, you're done. Okay, so now we have a decision to make. Do we want to put the sign on first or the ribbon on first? I like to put my ribbon on after the sign so that it frames the sign. It's entirely up to you what you want to do. At this point, since I'm going to put the sign on first, I'm going to push the pipe cleaners out to the edge of the frame. And I'm going to stand up. Get situated here, and I'm going to place one of my pipe cleaners at 12 o'clock and one at 6 o'clock, okay? Because when I attach this, that's how I know where my center is. So in this case, I have a point, so this point will go up here. I'm going to pull on these a little bit. There we go. I have a point that meets this one, and then I'm looking at the center of the bunny to center it down here. Alright, so now I'm going to sit back down. That's where I want it to sit. And I have I have at least one extra tool on the table that I have fell in love with to make my life easier when I want to attach a sign. Now you can just freely, which you will with your kit, just freely push the pipe cleaner on the back of the sign down through the mesh to the back because you want to attach it to the frame in the back. But I found these on Amazon, and you can check them out there. They are plastic embroidery needles. They sell 3-inch ones in like Walmart, but when you're dealing with the big fluffy wreaths, that's just not going to work, and it's aggravating. So I made sure I got the 6-inch. I believe there's a longer version too. This is 6, right? Yeah. This is a great tool to have. They also make metal ones. I have some of those. That's how I started. These long old things. Because they have a nice big eye in the needle. But yeah, this is a little safer. So now when we attach the sign, we don't go around in a circle to attach the pipe cleaners that are attached to the back of it. You do it in an X fashion. So we're going to go from here to here and here to here to here. I didn't pull these out. Okay, so those will go there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start with this one here, and I'm going to put this needle through the mesh all the way to the back at an angle so that the pipe cleaner isn't seen by the naked eye. It'll be hidden under the sign. And I'm going to take that and put it through the eye of the needle, fold it over just a little bit, and then I'm going to feed it through the back. And once it gets through the back, I pull it off the needle, okay? So that means this one's next. So this one here, making sure the bunny's centered, that's centered. I'm going to bring this in just under the sign right here. Lift it a little bit to get it all the way through. I tend to take it off the table a little bit. It's just what I do. Push the needle through, all the way through, so that it's under it folded. Under the sign, and pull the needle off. Now, the pipe cleaner folded a little bit, so it's not wanting to go through the mesh on the top side. But I unfolded it and pulled it through. So now before we go to the next two, I'm going to make sure it's centered, first of all. Put my hand on the sign and flip everything. So I can attach these to the pipe cleaner. Well, not pipe cleaners, to the wire frame. I just twist it, putting a little pressure on the whole project. We want it to sit in, the sign to sit in the wreath, but not pull it totally through. Lift it up to move it because we don't want it to scratch the sign. Remember that, don't just twist your wreath to work on another section once the sign's on the front. Pick it up and turn it. And then we're just wrapping this pipe cleaner onto the frame till it's gone. And an important thing to remember is that tip. You need to make sure it's facing down into the wreath, down towards the table, so that if somebody has a glass on their door, it doesn't scratch the glass or it doesn't scratch the door itself. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over. Those two are done. It's nestled down in there nicely, but not too much. And I'm going to do the other two. The reason we do it in an X fashion is it helps you keep your sign flat and not pulled down too far on one side and sitting up further on the other. It keeps it nice and flat. So now we're going to do this one. Through the mesh, make sure you're getting it above the ribbon from the lower layer. You don't want to damage that ribbon. Put your pipe cleaner in there. Fold the tip so it stays on the needle. And pull it through. Okay, it got stuck, didn't it? Did it go all the way through? There it is. Oftentimes that'll happen. There we go. This piece of fray, I want to cut that off. There we go. So now we want to go back up here and do the final. I'm going to put this through the frame, through to the back of the frame, through the mesh at an angle, so that we can keep that pipe cleaner hidden behind the sign. Pull it through, pull it off the needle, hold it by the sign, hitchhiker, okay, just flip it over, and then attach our pipe cleaner to the frame, twist it around the frame until it's gone and completely twisted. Making sure that the tip faces the bottom down towards the table. Lift it up. And do this with the final pipe cleaner. Twist it around the frame till it's gone. I always hope that I can twist it around a crossbar. It helps the sign from being able to move as well. While I'm back here, there's a few loose strings, so we want to get rid of those. We want to make sure the back looks as neat as possible as well. Flip it back over and our sign is on there. Alright, it's now time to put the final ribbon I do 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock last because I like the way it looks with these two laying on top of the sides. So I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to put the pipe cleaner horizontal to me. I'm going to do this one, then this one. Then I'm going to do this one, then this one, and then I'll do these two, okay? Remember again, the bunny has a pattern. So I'm going to start with the bunny with his ears to the right. We're not doing that V on the top layer. You can if you want, the inverted V, but I want it to splay out more like a starburst. So I'm going to put that in there. The bunnies are right side up. If you look at the wreath, you're going to go tight and low 2 to 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to leave them there for a while. And I'm going to spread out my ribbon. So I'm going to lift the top 2. Place it, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a curl on the top layer. You can keep it totally flat if you want, but even with a little bit of curl, once you put it on your regular door and close the screen or the storm door, it's not going to look crushed. It's just going to lay it down a little flatter like it would be in the first place. So again, we're separating all our ribbon out, popping those little bubbles out at the base by the pipe cleaner, and positioning them. So see how that's more of a splay, whatever the word is. Now on the bottom layer, I did one side one way with the green on the top and the green on the bottom on the other side. On the top layer, just to give it even more dimension, I'm going to keep it the same on both sides. And remember I said I had this little wooden dowel? If you don't have a wooden dowel, a pencil or a pen are the right size to do what I'm going to do now. I'm going to curl the excess pipe cleaners. You could always twist them, and then tuck it under the back of the ribbon. Let me show you. Cut the excess off. Make sure you just see a stub. But I like to go with the whimsical look. Great. So I am just going to curl it. And then I'm going to bring this out to show you what else you can do. These are little eggs from Hobby Lobby. You could even cut these off shorter and then just attach an egg to the tip with a curl. Give it a little bit more, or just glue it in the center if you just cut off the excess. If you did that, you would just tuck this behind on one side and cut off the excess, and tuck this on one side and cut off the excess. Pretend you don't see that pipe cleaner back there. Pretend I've cut it. And just glue these cute little eggs in the center. They look like a lot like the jelly beans. That's what I was thinking. You could also put holes in them with a needle, or that's where this would come in handy. But put a hole in them. You can hold on to them. These are plastic. They also make styrofoam ones that would look cute. And you would just, let me bring this up, back up the way I want it. And just take that hole and put the egg in there. I think they make jelly beans now too. I would put a little bit of glue on the end of the pipe cleaner. So you can either wait till after you've made your curl, or you can cut this way down so that it's really short and doesn't have a curl. But that's a kind of cute idea. I'm not going to stick, oop, come back here and try the purple one. After, keep throwing them on the floor. Oops, whatever color I get first, it's not yellow. So these are called pastel eggs from Hobby Lobby. Put another hole. Just to give you an idea, so you have options. You always have options. This time I'm going to curl it before I put the egg on it. Pull it out a little bit. You could do that. But I'm not. So I'm going to straighten these back up and go over what I did. Okay, so I did tight and low 2 to 3 times. Now I'm just taking the pipe cleaner and wrapping it around this wooden dowel or pen or pencil, whatever you have handy. And I'm going to wrap it low and tight. The other side, go the opposite direction. Same thing. So that would make a pretty good bed for the eggs to go in too, if I wanted to just put an egg there. I'm not, but yeah, that's an idea. So many different ways you can accessorize it. These are basic kits, but you could add all sorts of fun stuff. Okay, so I did that one. Sidetracked on accessories. Bring this back out horizontal. Nope, vertical. Now, you have a decision to make here too. Do you want all your bunnies to be right side up when they're looking at the wreath, or do you want to do the same thing as you did on the bottom where every other is opposing? So the ears are going that way on those. If I were to do it opposing, it'd be this way. But I think I'm going to go with all of the bunnies facing right side up. So I'm going to gather this, and I'm going to put it in like this so that the bunnies are upright. So tight and low 2 to 3 times, and place the ribbon. Okay, so there is one more thing I'm going to do. I am going to every other put the green to the outside. Okay. I am going to give it a pattern there. Just all the things that you do add to the dimension and the character of your wreath. All right. Pink is always in the center. I'm giving it a little curl by running my fingers over it as I put it in position. And then I'm going to do the twists. One direction on one side. I'm keeping it down there like that. The opposite direction. Make any adjustments you need. So see, you're just seeing the mesh as an accent. So now I'm going to turn it the other way and do this one, then that one. Just the same pattern as that. You could just go all the way around. It's up to you. This is just my thing. We're making sure the bunny ears are facing upwards, so they're right side up. So since I'm doing every other 2, 3, with the green on the outside and the other 3 in between them on the inside, this should match that one. So the green goes in the center. That goes there. That goes there. And we'll turn it. Do the same thing again. We're lifting and separating them so we can get as much of the ribbon out and splayed out. Take that pipe cleaner and twist it around. I'm trying really hard to do everything as I go so I don't forget anything and have a half-finished wreath or something looking funny. All right. So now it's time for this one. Again, remembering to keep the bunnies. That one was more blue and purple on the outside, so I switched to the yellow and the pink. That's why I swapped it. It matches. There's so many things to look at. Not everyone will notice, but I do. You probably will too. Twist, tight and low 2 to 3 times. Get it out of the way. Now, for some reason, this one ended up two different lengths. So I'm going to cut the tip off of the longer one so that they're even. Just bugs me. Okay. And this time the green is going to the outside of the wreath. So lift these, bring it out. Lift this, bring it out. Getting those bubbles out where we can. Running my finger over the edge. So lifting these two. Bring the green one out. Notice I am not handling the ribbon from the tip where it's cut. I'm bringing it out from the base as much as possible. So do the pipe cleaner. All right, so now that's where we're at. Let's bring it back out a little bit more. There we go. And now I'm going to do the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock. And we'll be done. See how it frames the sign? Okay, so this one's got blue and purple on the outside. So what I'm going to do is they're all going this way with the ears. If you look at it, believe it or not, all the ears go to the left. So this will go to the left. Going to the left as you look at it, I should say. Put that one in there, tight and low. 2 and 3. This is another one that's going to need a trim. Not always sure how that happens. I could probably analyze it, but is it important enough to know? Nah. So again, we're going to go back to the green towards the sign. So lift these, lift and separate, curl and straighten the edges, the wires, the ribbon as you go. So yeah, this side is upside down when you're looking at it, but this side is not. It's unavoidable. But this gives a consistent pattern through the entire top layer. Roll the pipe cleaners. And I got that placed nicely. And one more to go. Okay, now that it's in front of me, those bunnies go up that way, those go that way, so that means I want to go that way, which is opposite of the top one, which makes perfect sense. Ruffle the ribbon, one last bundle, put it in there, nice and even and centered. Twist this tight and low 2 to 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Pull the pipe cleaners up out of the way, piece of material. And now this one is going to have the rabbit to the inside and the green to the outside. I tried to do it my way. I'm trying to be consistent for you guys. Oh. There's that. Let's turn it a little bit. Work on this side. Lift these out of the way, bring this down. Twist around the dowel. I really like those little eggs. They're so cute. That would be great to get. And they're just, they say they're $2.99 right now, but they're usually half price towards the end of March at Hobby Lobby. So let me see. Is this completely all the way open? Yes. Alrighty then. She is complete. Why is it not showing? There we go. There she is. I love it. I love it, I love it. So there you go, a completed Easter storm door wreath that's less than 4 inches deep. Comes in at just under 4 inches. It can go anywhere, but it's perfect for behind a storm or screen door. Great for your Easter season. You could also use it in your house, anywhere. You can put it anywhere. Be a great gift idea as well. So there you have it. I don't have enough spare ribbon to do what I wanted to in my kit because I used the other two pieces to show you troubleshooting. But you could get a pipe cleaner and take your mesh, curl side down, you could probably put it on here. It would look pretty good on the wreath. Or you can put this somewhere else. So pretend I have... I'm just going to use the pink one just because. I'm going to ruffle in the center, except I don't care if it lays flat when I'm done, because we do want it to be a little ruffly. I'm going to take a pipe cleaner, put it around the center, and I'm going to leave it poofy. Twist it a couple times. I'm not going to worry about it being poofy. And you can just take... Oop, I untwisted it. Oops. Just take all 3 pieces of your ribbon, which I don't have anymore handy, and put it on here like this. You could even put both pieces of mesh together. Do the little curly thing. And leave it. Pretend there's 3 pieces of ribbon, okay? And then just stick them up in the air. You could just put the other one on the back. I didn't. You could put this on a lamp post, on your mailbox. This is me when I'm not tutoring. You could put that on the back and make it super fluffy. That would be cute. Just a couple ideas if you have the leftover product. You put that out of the way. And that out of the way. And there she goes. It's ready to go on someone's door. Well, there you have it. Now you've seen the process of putting it together. All of the materials are in your kit. You just have to make sure that you have a few tools. Like I said, most of those things you have around the house or in your husband's toolbox. I wouldn't recommend investing in the tools right away if you have things around the house that you can use. If you decide that you want to go further than this one wreath, then go ahead and do that. I can always recommend good tools. I talked about a few of them during the process. Some of them are as simple as a chip clip and a pencil. So it makes it super easy. If you liked this kit is available in the Etsy shop as of the time of premiere of this video. If not, you can always reach out to me and I can see if I still have any more left or I can create any more. Also, in the kit that you receive when you purchase a kit, you get written instructions as well. I mentioned that in the video at one point, that lays out everything that I've done as far as the basic direction. It's a great place to put notes on. I always recommend that you watch this video through at least once, and then you can watch it again as you're creating your wreath. Super easy, super fun. I also gave you some ideas on how to accessorize it a little bit more if you want to bump it up a notch. That's also available, and I told you where to find those supplies. And then ultimately, I just want to say thank you for joining me today. I know you have a choice of how you spend your time, and the fact that you're spending some time with me here today means a lot to me. If you like what you've seen, you can subscribe to the channel. That's free. That way you'll get notifications as to whenever I'm doing a new item. I do generally, unless I get super sick or something happens, God forbid, I usually post new content every Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and you'll get reminders for that if you subscribe to the channel. Also, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. I have the same name throughout, which is Wreath by Marguerite. I just don't do TikTok. And again, I would appreciate any comments you have and all the information for this kit. All these things are down below the video on YouTube. You can ask questions there. All the things, all the links for this wreath kit as well as this finished wreath will be in that section once the video goes live. So thank you again. I hope you enjoyed your time with me. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed teaching people. It's a lot of fun and you get something beautiful out of it. What more can you ask for, right? Well, thank you and have a great day, guys. See you again soon.